What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand. Welcome to the Thursday Night Flex. You know what? International football is boring. I'm not going to lie to you. But I do like the fact that there's no game on Thursday, so I can get my slot back. My Thursday Night Flex. I love it. I'm in my studio. I've got my rotating borders that Jordy's put up for me as well. And I do like it. But Haaland snubs United is the title here as well. And 150 million or bust. Loads to talk about Erling Haaland today. He's basically just getting... He's getting pimped out. I'm just going to say it. Raiola is on a European tour trying to find a suitor. Raiola is in his element trying to get the perfect destination for Erling Haaland. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Raphael Varane, a price set by Real Madrid as well. £51 million. I want to talk about that. I think that's an absolute bargain. We should absolutely be going for him. Sabitzer, I want to update on that. I did see some stuff on Rashford, his agency, coming up saying that he hasn't played injury-free for 2 years. That's a massive concern. Edwin van der Sar, I also saw as well somebody saying that Ed Woodward, there could be a complete overhaul in the summer, and Ed Woodward could be gone in the summer if it doesn't go well. I don't know if I believe that, but there's so much to talk about. But we've got to start where everyone wants to start. You might not want to start, actually. You're probably bored of it. But this is what the news is today, and this is what's been going on today. Now, Erling Haaland, we know at Dortmund, has just risen to the top, and he's the name on everyone's list. City, they're not going to have Aguero next year. They're going to need a top-notch striker. Chelsea, they've got a misfiring Timo Werner, an aging Giroud, and a Tammy Abraham who questionably isn't up to the task. They're going to want a new striker. He's Ollie's boy. Yeah, Ollie's already rang him a couple of times. He knows the family, speaks to him in Norwegian. He's coached him already. Ollie wants him. And then you've got Real Madrid and Barcelona. You've got a situation where Mino Raiola is on a European tour. He's taking private jets with Erling Haaland's dad. Imagine this. They've gone to Barca straight away, right? Finished at Barca, had a little chat. Oh, okay, what? You're going to offer this? You're going to offer that? All right, cool. Hold that. I'll keep that in reserve. Then jumped on a plane, then gone to Madrid. Yeah, gone to the Bernabeu quickly. Just going to check it out, see what they've got to say. And apparently they're coming to England as well. And what we're seeing is just a massive, massive bidding war. That's what we're going to see for Erling Haaland. 150 million euros it's going to cost for him, which is about 127 odd million pounds. And basically, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we spoke with James Cooper last week. And also, you don't even need James Cooper to tell us. We ain't got the money. Yeah, we haven't got the money. We know we haven't got the money. And that's going to be a massive issue for us because we can't afford that type of upfront cash. Like, we can't. Also, there was a bit of news that was saying potentially Donny van der Beek the other way as a makeshift, but that could also involve Jadon Sancho as well. So I think there's loads to get in here with this. But for me, I think the main thing is this. We know that we don't have 130 million pound there, and we're certainly not going to write a check for 120 million euros just outright. We're not going to do it. We didn't do it last year for Sancho, and we certainly aren't going to do it this year for Haaland. Surinder says, I'm so glad to hear about the news about Haaland. Want to see back of this Haaland circus now. But I don't think you will, though. That's the thing. I really don't think you will. I think that what we're going to see is the circus carry on, if I'm honest. And that sounds harsh, but that's what I see happening here. I really do. Because for me, we're not going to stop. Ollie is always going to want this player. Yeah, he loves him. He's his compatriot. He's going to want to see Erling Haaland at Manchester United. And look, a lot of us want to see Erling Haaland at Manchester United. But at the end of the day, we know that it's probably not feasible with what we've got going on. Do you know what I mean? We really don't. And that for me is the issue. We're not in a position to be able to just get a check, write it, and say, everybody move out the way. Man United are coming through. We're coming to town. Oh, what? There's a bidding war. Here's the piece. And that's the thing that really actually pisses me off about this. If this was us moving as a big club, we find out that Erling Haaland's our target. We find out that there's a bidding war, most importantly, and we go and blow everyone out the water. And the player almost has no other option but to say yes. That sounds very a little bit condescending, a little bit arrogant to other teams. And, you know, other fans watching it may think, who the hell do they think you are? You're not that anymore. That's precisely what I'm saying. We're not that anymore. And as United fans, we need to understand that we're not that as well. And I think most of us do. I think there's probably a small section of fans who probably still think, well, you know, we should just go and get him this year. this summer, sorry, but it's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. And the thing that you got to think about is we got so many positions to sort out as well, right? So the Pogba situation is going to come into this as well, because that's why we're seeing us trying to hang on to Cavani. We're trying to hang on to Paul Pogba. Obviously, Paul Pogba, we want him to stay anyway because he's that good. But really, on top of that is, if Paul Pogba leaves, that's another position that we ain't got peas to fix. That's how you got to look at it. Take Paul Pogba out of this equation, right? We already need 4 positions to fill. We need a centre-back. We need a right winger. We need a defensive midfielder, that's free. And arguably, we need a striker. So and back up to Wan-Bissaka, depending on whether you want to bring Dalot back, whatever you want to say. So we already got 4 positions to fill, maybe 5. That's without Paul Pogba leaving. So my thing, what I took from James Cooper when he said that Pogba will probably end up staying, that's one thing. But then I should have asked him, but then is he going to stay but not sign? And we're going to let him go into this year, next year on a free. So this all ties in with the Erling Haaland thing. Look, if we got Erling Haaland in this team, people say that we play shit football. Erling Haaland could have been on the pitch against AC Milan in that second leg, and would he have got a chance? Which is a fair comment. I do understand that. But if you really deep it, what would he? Would we get change out of him is what I'm saying. Would we get the best out of him? Would Solskjaer's way of playing football get the best out of Erling Haaland? Erling Haaland will be thinking about this. Mino Raiola won't be thinking about this. We know what he's thinking about. He's thinking about the dollar signs, the pound signs, the euro signs. He's not interested in the best move for his client. He's interested in the best move for his pocket. But Erling Haaland will be thinking about it. And because he has the pick of the bunch, if I'm Erling Haaland, I'm sitting there. Do I want to go into a Man United in transition that probably don't suit my playing style? They will have to adapt if I get there. That's the cons. The pros are, I'm under Ollie, he gets me, he's managed me before, and also the project of actually not going into a ready-made thing and being the forefront, the superstar, the spearhead of bringing Man United back to the top. That's up to Erling Haaland. But if you then put to him, well, I'll tell you what, you can go to Man City, where all of the pieces of the puzzle are there, mate. Erling, you're just the only one. Erling and Sterling they'll have. Just thought of that now. How sad is that? Erling and Sterling they'll have up front. And that's a problem. That is a problem for the whole rest of the league. But if you are Erling Haaland, you're thinking, I'm the final bit of jigsaw to that puzzle. You're going to go to who will be champions. You're going to go to that team who are champions of England because they're going to win the league. He's only 20 years of age. And a lot of people say that he will be that kind of journeyman because he's that good. So it's like the next stage of his career. And that's what I do like about him. At Salzburg, that was the level that he needed to do. Scored goals consistently. Went Champions League, scored goals consistently. Then he's gone up to kind of the B level. Dortmund, rejected us as the B level. Let's just be honest. Let's be real. Went to Dortmund, great club for young players. Got a good history of developing young players, giving them a platform to shine. He's outgrown them within a year and a half. Then the next step is that A-grade team. It's like the natural thing is to go to the polished team. I'm not so sure Erling Haaland will be sold on the fact of just playing with Solskjaer. He wasn't in when he was at the B stage, before he gets to the A stage of his career. He wasn't sold on it then, and I don't think he's going to be sold on it now, in my personal opinion. On top of that, I do believe that Man United are definitely in for him and want him, but I just can't. I just can't see it happening. Is Ed Woodward going to pull that off? I can't see it. So for me, I've got no hope, absolutely no hope of this coming through. And that's not to be pessimistic. I'm just being realistic. If I'm honest with you, that's what this comes down to, being realistic. If we are being realistic, can you see Erling Haaland coming to the football club? The answer is unequivocally no. Of course not. A couple of super chats here. I want to get through them as well. Jack Pickering says, "Yo, Flex, we don't talk about Camavinga enough. The boy is going to be as good as Pogba, but without the agent issues. He is a really good player, and there's a few links, but it's not really coming out, is it? It's not really coming out. And I would love to see him at United. I think he's a great young player." James McDermott says, "Are Barca and Real Madrid ready-made though? And will City even pay that?" Very interesting point, James. That's why I didn't say that they were ready-made. That's why the ready-made, I kind of went with City. Fair enough, you said, and will City even pay that? I think City will pay that. I know they don't normally. The most they've ever spent on a player, I could be wrong, is 60, 70 million maybe? What is it, Ruben Diaz? Is he their most expensive signing, I want to say? I could be wrong. or Laporte maybe, something like that anyway. But they certainly don't spend 80, 90, 100 million. I do agree. But with Sergio Aguero leaving and Gabriel Jesus not there, I think that they know that this player is there and there to be got. I think they'll definitely be in for him. So Ruben Diaz was about 64 million. So I reckon he's one of their top ever signings, if not the. Bernardo Silva, what? So it is, yeah, Ruben Diaz, I'm going to say. So for me, I can see them going up a level and spending almost double. Well, they'll be spending double that. I can see it. But I take your point. They don't normally do that. Nishant says United and City have spent 680 million and 830 million respectively on their current squad. We are not far behind in spending, so why are we not winning trophies? Nishant, listen. Recruitment. Ed Woodward. Matt Judge. Like I could go on. You know, that's what I mean. Look at how much money we've spent. We've always said since Sir Alex Ferguson left, we've spent nearly £1 billion. I was saying this on the show the other day with Mark. And the best we have to show for it, no disrespect to the players that are playing for us, is what we have. That's what we have to show after £1 billion worth of investment. Now I know that's over 8 years or so, but even if you want to talk about, you know, the best part of 300 million under Solskjaer since he's been there, or whatever Jose spent, even in these periods, I know time elapses and players need to move on and people have gone in and out in that time. But we've got no trophies, or well, the EFL Cup and the Europa League. We've got to for £1 billion, we've got a Charity Shield, a Europa League, and a Carabao Cup. £1 billion. That's the best return that we can get. 1 billion people. Can you deep what's actually going on here? It's ludicrous. Michael Vieira says, I think a CDM is the most important position, but I can see why a striker would help. Imagine if we were more clinical. Imagine if Martial had the same form, 9 more points maybe. 100%. CDM, yes, is important. Very, very important. And for me, I can't stress it enough. It's the truth. Leg and Sweet says, Flex, you're not getting Haaland. Stop dreaming. Definitely not a Man United fan there. And look, I'm not dreaming. I'm agreeing. I really am agreeing. We can't negotiate early due to our financial strategy. Remember, Lukaku sold before Maguire bought. 100%. That is what we do, and that is what we do wrong. That is exactly what we do wrong. We don't do things the right way around. I mean, Producer Ever was alluding to it about the way that, you know, the way that the club is run and how transfers are conducted. We don't do it right. We don't do it correct. What we should be doing is establishing our targets from even before now. We should be making contact around now so that as soon as the transfer window opens, we're ready to rock. I was talking to DJ. He used to come on the fan forum and he comes on the Instagram lives quite a lot. I like DJ. Big up DJ if you're watching. And he said, you know what we do, Flex? We don't move in the right order. We should be doing all these things now, laying the groundwork. And he said, whenever, like if the transfer window is say 8 to 9 weeks, we spend the first 4 weeks monitoring situations. That's all we do. Another pin comment here says, Flex, if you get another opportunity to ask a question to Ollie anytime soon, will you ask him why he talks about attacking football and plays defensive, boring football? I'll probably have to think of a slightly more polite way to say that, but I will. I definitely will. You know that whenever we get into press conferences, we're all about you guys, the fans. I remember when we got into the first couple of press conferences, and me and Mark, I think Mark put out a poll of what you'd want to ask, because that is what the United stands about. It's about the fans. Yasser says, I can see him going to Bayern or Real Madrid next season and stay put this season. Flex, stay optimistic. Who knows what can happen? Yasser, I love your optimism. And to be honest with you, I feel like sending you my address so you can just send me some in the post, because I'll have it. I'll have what you're having. But I just go off evidence, man. Seriously, the first bit you said there is I can see him going to Bayern or Real Madrid next season. Bayern have said that they're not in the race so far. That was from Fabrizio Romano. I did see that. It does seem to be Man United, Chelsea, Man City over here in England, and then Barca and Real Madrid. You can't rule out Juventus as well, but money-wise, are they going to be in a position to pay 120 odd million? No. So actually, I'll take that back. You probably can rule out Juventus. Then you've got PSG. I haven't really seen a lot of PSG links for Haaland, but you know they're always able to put that kind of money up on the board. But I don't know. I'm just getting sick and tired of it, to be honest with you. And someone said that, I think earlier in the super chat, they just want the circus to be over. And you know what? It's quite sad because the circus is only just hotting up. Rayola's on like I said, a European tour. He's literally taking the piss. He's just going around everywhere. They are in the perfect position. Dortmund have said today This is quote, Dortmund have no plans to sell Erling Haaland and wouldn't accept anything, an offer below 150 million. Previously, Zorc has admitted it would be difficult to retain Haaland if the club didn't qualify for Champions League as well. That's another thing for Dortmund. Yes, they're not too far off it, but they need Champions League football to definitely have a shout. Because even if they do get Champions League, it's probably not going to be enough to keep Erling Haaland, because I think his release clause kicks in next year, which is going to be less for what they're trying to sell him for now. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be less, and I'm hearing that his sell-on clause, sorry, his release clause is 60 million euros. 60 million euros. So they've got a player who basically they didn't negotiate right, because when they didn't envisage him being as good as this. But even 60 million, they've made a right cock up there. They've got to protect. That's why when I'm playing FIFA career mode, release clause gone. I don't want no release clause, because sometimes you don't know how good a player can be, and they've really made a balls up of that, because now they're having to sell him this season for the 120 that he's worth, or people are going to go, I'll wait till the end of next season and I'll just activate the 60 million, and then what's his face, Riola gets a big payday because the wages are going to be high, because the transfer fees not as high, and they win. So Dortmund, like someone says there in the comment section, Dortmund would also lose other players if no Champions League, and that brings in the Jadon Sancho thing. There was talks, more reports saying that maybe Donny van de Beek could be used as like an inroad for this, a bit of an inroad in terms of, could he go the other way to Dortmund as a make weight for Haaland? Look, no disrespect to Donny, but we bought him for what, 40 million pounds, 35 million pounds. He's hardly kicked a ball, been injured. Can we even get that back? Would we have to sell Donny for 25 million? It's tight. You have to think of it. I know people can say, no, Flex, he's definitely worth that. You can say that because we know the stock and calibre of the player, but if you're a bargaining team, if you're trying to bargain with us, you're going to say, well, you didn't play him. He obviously wasn't that good. Do you know what I mean? So we lose a little bit there as well. So Donny going the other way potentially could happen. But not just necessarily for Haaland. Maybe that could be a make weight for Jadon Sancho. If they don't get Champions League, would Jadon Sancho be unhappy? I think we're just not going to get Haaland, I think we got more chance of getting Jadon Sancho, and I don't even think we'll get him, because I just think we've moved on since then. Lewis says, on a dirty one tonight with the lads. Big up yourself, Flex. Come on, United. Well, Lewis, I hope it's outside, and I hope there's only 6 of you, or 5, including you. Yeah, because I don't know if you was in Nottingham. Yeah, I saw the parks ram off. I saw everyone doing like a group of 6, but there's like 9,000 groups of 6. How does that work? Yeah, you got to look after yourself, so be careful. Flex, can you help me with my tactics? I don't know anything other than counter attack. Cheers, Ollie. That's from Ollie going to Solskjaer in the free seats, which definitely, obviously, isn't Ollie. So if you're just joining us, smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. We're basically talking about Haaland and the fact that Mino Raiola is on the European tour to try and get the Haaland situation done. We've also spoken about the fact that Tuto Sport Web saying that Donny van de Beek's swap deal could happen for Erling Haaland or Jadon Sancho. For me, to sum it up, guys, I can't see either of them happening. I really can't. I can't see either of them happening. We haven't got the money. We know we've got the best part of 100 million to play with, and that's with moving players on. We've got too many positions to kind of fill in, and I can't see Erling Haaland coming here. I really can't. We just can't afford it. Joseph48 says, Flex, you're a legend, thank you. And Ebon Kingsley says, Haaland is going to Chelsea. Think about it. Roman Abramovich can definitely enter this conversation with ease. Easy, Imagine that they just got bored of Timo Werner. I do think they will stick with him. I was doing some stuff with Rory from the Chelsea channel, and Rory's a big Chelsea fan, and he was saying that his feeling as a Chelsea fan is they will probably stick one more season with Timo Werner. So he didn't think they'll be in the conversation for Erling Haaland. Tuncho obviously being German, and Timo Werner being German, maybe give him another year, but Chelsea definitely have the piece to just go, what, you want 127 million pounds? Slap that down. Do you know what I mean? And if they really want to be ruthless about it, put Timo Werner on top, and give them, say, 80 million plus Werner or something like that. I don't know. But they can afford it. They can afford it. Manchester City, it is unlikely in terms of what they normally do, But again, the fact that he's the perfect player to fill their void, they would just be the most complete team. Would they be able to rival Bayern Munich with that team? They could almost rival Bayern Munich this year. If you think about it, they look like they're gonna go deep into the Champions League. So God knows what's gonna happen there. KA says McFro special. The situation where Ollie bottles cut games with McFred. I like what he's done there. He's put McFred and Ollie in one thing. McFrolly. That is brilliant, KA. You are bang on. McFrolly special. The situation where Ollie bottles cut games with McFred. That's the new term. McFrolly. I wonder if that's going to catch on. Surely that's not going to catch on. That's taking absolute piss, that is. McFrolly. Wow. But the evidence, though, suggests that it did. You know, that it will. That is what's been going on. We've been bottling the semi-finals and, you know, coming up to this situation with the end of the season coming up. What was it, 8 or 9 games left in the Premier League and crunch time in the Europa League. We got to get it done. We got to get it done. There's no excuses. I wanted to go on to talk about Raphael Varane today as well. Now, this is back to the centre-back situation. And for me, this is getting a bit kind of... I don't know, there's a big talking point behind this. It's quite a split between the fan base. Today I've done an Instagram Live and you get a good feel of how fans are thinking, how fans are feeling. And, you know, on the comments and on social media. And I always ask people, what's your priority? And, you know, someone like Mark is saying, you know, CDM, get a CDM. If you get a CDM who can play proper ball, they can look after themselves, they will be more dominant in midfield, which means we can dictate the play better and allow the players like Pogba and Bruno to go and do their thing. And the supply line into the forward line would be way better. But then there's other people who say a centre-back is absolutely key. Like, that's the main thing we need to get. Get the centre-back because then we can play higher up. Maguire doesn't look as bad. We don't have to worry about one-on-ones with pacing behind and all of this kind of stuff. It depends which way you look at it. For me, I don't really care. To me, they're both as important as each other. We need both because, listen, if we get, say you paint this picture, say we get a new centre-back, say we get Raphael Varane, right, which I'm going to talk about in a sec. Say you get Raphael Varane playing next to Maguire, yes, that alleviates the problem with, you know, when you're playing against a quick striker, when you're playing with pacing behind from wide areas, you can come across, etc. It alleviates that. But if you then have McTominay and Fred ahead of that, we still got the problem of the supply line into the strikers. We still got the problem of playing too slow midfield. We've still got the problem of there's only so much the acquisition of a Varane type player alongside Maguire can cope with. You know what I mean? They can only do their job so far. Varane can't help the supply line into the forwards. He can't help us dictate midfield. Don't get me wrong, it can alleviate it because we won't have to maybe play 2 defensive midfielders. But then, what are we saying then? If we get a centre-back that Ollie trusts, i.e. Varane or Koundé or whoever it is, Ben White, which we'll talk about, whoever it may be, are we saying that because Ollie trusts them, he's going to play one less defensive midfielder? He's not going to do that. He's not going to then go Pogba, Bruno, Donny because he's got a centre-back. So actually, the more while I'm talking about this now, actually going, well, actually, a centre midfielder is probably the best thing to do because then the defensive midfielder, because what that does is alleviate the pressure on the back four and help with the supply line into the front three. So actually, that's probably the priority, actually, now I think about it. Before, I was like, I don't really care. I take that back. Talking about it now and going through it in the different steps, I'm like, that's probably the just about a bit more of a priority. But again, it's still 6 or 7, 6 to 1, half a dozen the other, because, you know, if you do go and get the CDM, there's still only so much that if you've got a Wilfred Ndidi next to Pogba, yes, we'll control the ball more and stuff like that, but you still need a quick centre-back alongside Maguire, you know? But you still need 2 who work as a pair and don't have the wrong attributes between the 2. Tomo says, Flex, maybe I'm crazy, but I do believe this transfer window is so important. We might not get the transfer we want, but I think we get a centre-back, a CDM and a striker. I'm going to read... Do you know what? A lot of people are going to say, nah, this guy doesn't know. But think about what he's saying there. He goes, I know we might not get the ones we want, but I think we'll get a centre-back, CDM and striker. I see why you think that, but let me put this to you, Tomo. How about I told you the striker's going to be Cavani? What would you say then? Because I agree with you. I've got a feeling we might get those 3, but how we get it and the types of players that we get, I agree. It probably won't be the ones we want. I think asking Cavani to stay is for a number of reasons, actually, which I'll get to when I touch on him. But back to Varane. Spanish newspaper out there are saying, newspaper outlets are saying that Real Madrid have set an asking price of 60 million euros, which is 51 million pounds. And listen, that is a bargain. Or 70 million euros, which is 59 million pounds. Bargain. If you're saying 51 M's for Varane, world class, World Cup winner, been there and done it, won La Liga, won multiple Champions League. His CV is long. Yeah, his CV is long. He's a very, very good player. If you're talking about bringing that in, that's a big plus. And for 50 million, I think it's a no-brainer. Why would you not? What is he, 29 now, I think? Raphael Varane, 28, 29. As a centre-half, I think that's prim and proper. I don't mind that at all. And Kevin Anderson, big up Kevin Anderson. He's the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. So Varane is 27 going on 28, right? So he's in his peak powers. You know, he's nearly 28. He's in his peak powers. And he's very quick, very strong, very good in the air, and good with the ball at his feet as well. He is the complete centre-half. If you can get him for 50 million, you get him. You get him. Everyone in the comments saying he's 27. He's 27, but he's 28 next month, I believe. He's nearly 28. But, you know, 27, same thing. 27, 28. That is an absolute bargain. We just bought Harry Maguire, yeah, for 80 million. Now, I know Leicester took us to the cleaners and back with that. But essentially, if you can go and get Raphael Varane for 50 million pounds, why would you not even be in the conversation? And this again comes back to what we always get pissed off about, how we do transfers. How competent are we? Because a big club would say, Varane's available. He's going into his last year of his contract. 50 million. On the phone from early. On the phone from early. Because that's what you do if you want your targets. You don't sit around. You don't wait. You don't have this arrogance of thinking that you're the team or the club that you used to be because you're winning everything, that a player is just automatically going to be attracted to you. Especially a player that's been there and done it and won it all. He's won everything that... Wait there. Varane's won everything there is to win in football. Apart from like Europa League, which obviously he's not going to give a shit about because he's got like 3 Champions Leagues under Zidane. Like, he's won everything there is. He's won their cup. He's won the World Cup. Has he won the Euros? He hasn't won the Euros. France haven't won the Euros. They lost, didn't they? And then they came back and won the final of the World Cup. So he's okay. He hasn't won the Euros, but that's it. That's all that's missing off his CV. And we think we're, you know, so good that we don't need to go and approach him and basically lick his ass to get him to come here. Yes, we do need to kiss his ass. Kiss his ass and get him in. 100%. Tomo says Varane, Rice, and Cavani. What do you think? I like that, Tomo. I tell you what. That's the only way I remain happy with Cavani staying if we got Varane and Rice. If we got Varane and Rice, I would then say, look, it's really not possible for us to go and shell out on another striker. So I understand it. He's going to be injury prone and he's probably not going to play a lot, but it's better to have him there than not. If we got Varane and Rice, because let's face it though, we're not going to be able to... Well, Varane's 51 million to be fair. So 51 million on Varane and we've got 100 million to play with. The other 50 million or 49 million is not going to be enough to get Declan Rice. West Ham are going to want, what, 80 odd million? But then you say you've got 50 million, but you've also got 25 to 30 million in Jesse Lingard. So we probably could afford him with a few assets as well. So that would be a sick summer. Varane, Rice, and then keep Cavani. It's not, we know we can't get everything. It's not bringing in the right winger that we want, but I don't think we're going to do that anyway because we've got Ahmad. It's not bringing in the stellar striker that we want to see, but it is addressing the 2 biggest areas, and I would take that for one. Graham says Koulibaly or Varane for 50 million is perfect. Is the perfect bridge to Mengi. Yeah, Tini Mengi, look, he's out on loan right now. I always get a bit sceptical with just going... The young players are just going to bide their time and then come in and smash it. But it does give a perfect stopgap to at least let us see how Mengi develops. It was the same thing with Jimmy Garner. Like people are saying now, Jimmy Garner's going to be bring him in CDM next year. He went to Watford and it didn't really work out for him. He started off really well. He was enjoying himself. The Watford fans were loving him. Then they changed the manager, and then Jimmy couldn't get the game time, and then they kicked on without him, and they're pushing for promotion. So it got a bit sticky. But then he left there and went to Forest, and now he's killing it. You know, so he's getting confidence. I think Jimmy can be a good player, but I don't think he's going to ever break into our first team. That's my personal opinion. I just can't see it. I can't see him being coming in over the likes of, well, Pogba's going to be gone, but senior players and just giving a run. I hope I'm proven wrong on that. You know, I do like the look of Jimmy Garner. He can pass well. Flex, it's James Garner. Listen, RT3. I don't know where you're from in the world or whatever, but Jimmy is a nickname for James. And yeah, are we really doing that? Come on. Yeah, we call him Jimmy Garner, where I'm from. Yeah, everyone's saying James. Are we really doing this in the comments, guys? Everyone's like, no, his name's James. His name's James, it's not Jimmy. Flipping it, guys. Have you lot never come across a guy called James and you call him Jim? Is that like all my Irish crew inside the place? Can we come and back me, please? Where's Jay when I need him? Someone ring Jay now. Get Jorty. I don't know. I've got you in my ear. Bring up Jay on the screen or something, man. Jay, if you're in the comments, put a super chat saying, okay, guys, I've got my notes. I can confirm that Jimmy is a term for James. Come on, man. Yeah, Jay definitely will do that. Josh says, big up yourself, Flex. I want to see what Mace Window can do. Mace, is that a... I'm trying to see. Is it a Star Wars reference? Could do as a centre forward. We've never given him a run of games to grow into the position. I don't know if you have me on. I'll be honest. I don't watch Star Wars or anything. I'm trying to think. Is that a rude one? I'm going to say it in my head in case it is. I'm getting in my ear that Mace Windu is a Star Wars Jedi, and you lot know that ain't coming from me. So there's only guesses where it's coming from. Yeah, that's a Star Wars thing. So you got me because I don't know. Someone put it correct. Flex says Dobert Lord. I don't know. Anyway, you lot have made me lose my complete train of thought. Back to Varane. That's why I love the comments. You know, it is so sick just interacting with you lot. Ask KG. No, exactly. I'll ask KG or Jorty or Mark. They're the Star Wars geeks of the world. But back to Varane. We have to get him. And someone even said Koulibaly as well. Koulibaly would be an absolute bargain for that price as well. And he's what, 29 going on 30, I believe, Koulibaly. So for me, either or. One thing I do think about the centre-back situation is that we can't afford, in my opinion, to have a young, up-and-coming centre-back, unless they've played at a really high level, for me. This is the issue with the Ben White situation. I don't always think that just because you play for a club that's not competing as high as yours, that they can't make it at Man United. I'm not that fickle. But in this case, for the position that we need, I want someone who's played Champions League. I want someone who's played at the top level. And no disrespect to Ben White, I just don't think we can afford to have that lack of experience alongside Maguire. I need someone who's just going to come and take care of themselves. Now, I could be proved completely wrong. If we do go for a young centre-back because it's, you know, the price is right, Ben White's supposedly only going to cost £35 million. Will that look attractive to Manchester United? He's English. He's playing in the Premier League regularly. Not in the England squad yet, the senior squad. But Man United would probably see that and say, oh, we can work with that. Another English guy. You know, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Ben White, Dean Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka right. Oh my God. Nah, I see what they're doing. If we get Ben White, it's an absolute madness. The whole back four would be English, including the goalkeeper. The whole back five. That's nuts. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Jordy's in my ear saying it worked for Barcelona in Spain. But look at no disrespect, but look at the Xavi Iniesta, David Villa, flipping PK, Busquets, or Jordi Alba. I think it's a bit different. Messi says no to Brexit FC. And look, do you know, I don't want to be disrespectful. Because we have Luke Shaw is a fantastic player. Wan-Bissaka's growing in confidence. Harry Maguire's doing all right, man. I think that, you know what, he does get a lot of stick, but I think he does need the perfect person next to him. And I think being the captain as well, I think he would have been better off just looking after his own performances. But he is doing his thing. And Dean Henderson is not a shit goalkeeper. As much as I still would go with David De Gea right now, I can see it. I'm accepting it. We're going towards the Dean Henderson era. They gave him a 6-year contract at 120 odd K a week or whatever it is. He's going to be the number one. I think De Gea is going to go. Or at least be number 2 next year, which obviously isn't going to go down well. And De Gea's days are numbers. I think actually the next game against Brighton is going to give us like the clearest indication yet. Because if Dean Henderson starts against Brighton, yeah, that's a big madness, because that means that David De Gea could have come back against AC Milan in the second leg, because I think he was back then, but he was only just back. Then he could have played against Leicester, but didn't. And then if he has 2 weeks off, did David De Gea go on international duty? I don't know. I think he did. But anyway, he comes back from that. Maybe he didn't actually, though, because of quarantine. I don't know. But then, whether he did or he didn't, he comes back into the side, not played in them 2 games when he was back. Then he doesn't play against Brighton, and Dean Henderson plays. Writing's on the wall, mate. Writing's on the wall. But back to the English thing I was saying, yeah, the Ben White situation. I want someone who's kind of been there and done it. I'm not always against young players. I look at what Leicester did with Fofana. I do get that, but they put Fofana in next to Johnny Evans, who's really experienced, who's won things, and is a proper centre half. So I'm saying, no disrespect to Harry Maguire, but I don't really want to see him. I don't want my new centre back learning off him. I know that might sound harsh, but I don't know. I don't know. To me, Harry Maguire, he's the leader now, and sometimes he does. Sometimes he does actually show a bit of leadership. You're not going to say, "Nah, you're being mad." He does sometimes. He does. And you know what? How he was carrying on for England yesterday, when he was saying about John Stones and stuff. That is positive. That is positive as an England fan. It is. But I'm going to talk about my new centre back coming in. Like I said, I want them to be able to learn themselves. Do you know what I mean? I want Harry Maguire to be able to learn off them. Do you know what I mean? So a Koulibaly or a Varane coming in, that's perfect. That's the perfect mix between experience, age, and ability for me. You know? Gusham says, no risk, no reward. Well, yeah, we are going to have to take risks. And Ati says, Ben Godfrey over Ben White. I would take Ben Godfrey over Ben White. I've seen him at least, and he's quite versatile as well. I know that Ben White has spent some time in midfield as well. He gets pulled about a little bit, but Ben Godfrey is super quick as well. And KG really wants him. And again, Ben Godfrey's not even for me. I'm not even saying go and get him, but if it was out of him and Ben White, I would certainly go with Ben Godfrey for sure. In my opinion, I don't know what you guys think about that. I do want to go on to Cavani as well, and this whole Cavani thing really, really is starting to piss me off. I haven't really been letting out how much it's actually annoying me, because I'm not even really angry at Cavani. I just think of the club. And again, I hate to be pessimistic, right? And keep kind of bringing this to the table. But it's a massive piss take what's actually gone on. Think about this, right? So we were in a position where we needed a striker. Let's go pre-Igalo, yeah? Pre-Igalo. We needed a striker because all we had was Martial up front. Mason had only just come into it that first season. So when it got to January, we needed a striker, yeah? So we went and got a proper cheap deal that none of us would ever have thought, and got Igalo in from China. Now, no disrespect to Odin Igalo. I can hold my hands up and say I wasn't gassed when he came, but when he came and scored a couple of goals against the lower opposition in games that, you know, he could come into, he did well for that little period. And then it kind of, after lockdown, it was a bit like, ooh, it's a bit tight for Igalo. When can we send him back to China again? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be rude, but that's just where it was. It wasn't the required level. And you know what? It was a great story. It was a brilliant story of him coming to the club. It was great to see him as a fan and how much it meant for him to play for the club. And the fact that he was the first Nigerian to play for us. All of that is fantastic. Well done. But from a club point of view, we got a quick 1-year deal out of him just because we couldn't be asked or couldn't be effed to spend our money and go and get a proper replacement. So, all right, cool. You let them off one time. Then it's getting to the end of Igalo, and you're thinking, we're just going to be back in the same position again when we've only got Martial as the only recognised number 9. Mason Greenwood, let's face it, is a right winger for us. I know in the absence of Cavani and Martial, he's been playing up there, and the jury's still out of where he's going to play long term. But for us, mainly, all of his goals and what he's been doing has been coming from the right-hand side. Flex Dean Henderson said that he doesn't know Mark Goldbridge on the United. Yeah, I saw that earlier. But like Mark said, he's Team De Gea. But I think Dean Henderson was looking at that and he was like, well, I better not say. Anyway, that's for another day. But back to what I was saying. So I feel like we're going around in circles. So Igalo comes to the end. So we're back to where we started, needing an option. So again, do we go out and buy a forward, which we knew we needed going into last summer? No, we don't. We let the clock run down, we procrastinate, we take ages, we flipping dilly-dally over things, and then we rush and panic and get a player who was free from like... I think Cavani was free from like when their season finished because he got injured. So he was free from like April, May times, I believe, because he didn't play for ages. And then we got him right at the end of our transfer window on a quick thing. So that shows that we're trying to penny pinch again. We don't want to spend the money of just addressing the problem. And this is what's starting to really annoy me, which is why I said at the beginning of this topic that I'm not actually annoyed at Cavani. I'm just more pissed off at the club because just spend the proper money and fill the void long term. All of this scrimping and scramping, like, it's pathetic how we're moving, and it's proper starting to jar me because, hang on a minute, since when did we just start getting stopgaps for positions? Why are we doing that? Do you know what I mean? And then the COVID situation happened as well. And then now on top of that, I get a little bit more of it with COVID. That's understandable, especially with an extra year. Every club's in the same boat and the whole transfer market is different. I'm not one of them fickle fans who can't understand that. But even before COVID, we don't move efficiently. We penny pinch. We don't just go and lay down the money. And then when we do lay down the money, it's when we get absolutely fleeced. It's when someone like Leicester comes along and says, well, if you want Harry Maguire, mate, you're going to have to pay almost a world record fee. It is a world record fee for a defender, no? Joy, is that a world record fee for a defender? I think it is. 80 million. He's definitely the most expensive midfielder in the Premier League. Most expensive centre back in the Premier League. You know what I mean? In fact, £80 million. That's what Gareth Bale went to Real Madrid for. That's what Cristiano Ronaldo pretty much went for. That's what Eden Hazard went for to Real Madrid, 80 odd million. So, that's 10 million less than what Pogba came to us for. And we spent that on Harry Maguire. So that's what is really annoying me about this. And the thing is with the Cavani thing that scares me now is, I know we know we're trying to keep him. And I know exactly why they're trying to keep him. They're trying to keep him because Man United have no ambition, no intention whatsoever to go and replace Cavani. One, because they can't afford to. And two, even if they could, they're just going to try and penny pinch like we always do. And that is a big problem, though. I can see that. I'm not stupid enough to not know that. If we let Cavani go, or Cavani don't want to stay, because let's not forget this. Cavani's doing the whole posturing thing. He's like, all right, let's sit and talk. But the Boca Junior thing is real. Like, they want him. And I do believe he probably wants to go back to his homeland, or at least to South America, even if it is Argentina. But I think we're going to penny pinch again. I really do. And for me, that's just not good enough. We're going to end up... And if he leaves, then what we're going to do? That's when you do get your Josh King kind of thing coming in for a short term and things like that. That's no disrespect, but that's what happens. Rather than just going out and getting the player that we need, the youngster that we need. It's just not good enough. Fergus says, hey, Flex, would you take Frankie de Jong? I would take Frankie de Jong. I think he's good. I know people are saying he's kind of flopped at Barca and he's not that good. I think he's a great player. We could swap Pogba plus cash. It's sad that us fans could probably better negotiate with players than those in charge. Yeah, I know we, as fans, we always think we know it all. But what we do know is that the people that we've got doing the job aren't doing it properly, because the output says that. You get some people who say, oh, look at this person, they think they know everything. When did you get your UEFA A license or whatever? There's one thing about that annoys me, because there's one thing about knowing how to actually change it and be on the training pitch to change it, because you're not a UEFA A license coach or whatever, versus, mate, I'm a fan of football and I know what it should look like. Yeah? So I might not know how to make that cake, yeah, but I know it shouldn't look like that. Yeah, you can't tell me that cake's supposed to look like that. Victoria sandwich cake, say you made one of them and it looks like absolute shit. It's like a pancake. I'm going to look at it and say, bro, it ain't supposed to look like that. Oh, but could you bake it? Well, no, I can't bake it, but I know that you've done it wrong. You can say that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think there's this thing where people are like, you just because when have you been in a professional way? You don't need to be a professional to look at something and know it ain't right. You just need to be invested in it. You just need to know what it should look like. And that's what I think is wrong with when people say that, I don't like it. It annoys me. It really annoys me. But back to the centre back situation to finish off. I don't like it. I think we really need to look at that, and we need to get someone with experience. And I think Varane is the absolute perfect person to do it. Smash a like on the video if you're just joining us, and subscribe if you lot are new. Bottom right hand corner. Remember, you can join the United Stand Members Club as well. So make sure you lot do all of that good stuff. Get your comments in. I'm going to interact with the free seats as well, and obviously get your super chats read out. Big up Ehab as well, who says like, share, and subscribe. On to Marcus Rashford now, and his agency come. This pissed me off today as well. I've just had a day. I sound really miserable, don't I? I sound really miserable. I promise you, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. But I am. I've Man United news wise today. I've just looked at all the stuff coming out when I was prepping for tonight's show, and I'm just like, this is crap. Like, there's not one bit of it that where I'm like, well done. That's good. That's good to hear. No, you know what I mean. I just can't. Rashford's agency come out and basically said that, this is what I read anyway, how true it is, but I think it probably is true, looking at how Marcus Rashford plays, or has been playing, saying that he basically hasn't been injury-free for like 2 years. Like, what are we doing? It was already concerning to me when Rashford was in the AC Milan press conference, and what was he saying? He was basically saying, at the end of the season, whatever treatment I need or whatever surgery I need, we'll deal with it then. So he ain't telling us what it is, but he's basically admitting that something is wrong. Now listen, again, this is no criticism of Marcus Rashford, because I think he's a fantastic young player. He lives, breathes, eats, dies, whatever, Manchester United. Yeah, you cut him, he bleeds Manchester United. And again, every time I talk about Marcus Rashford, I always start with this saying, forget what he's doing off the field, because that's nothing to do with football, because he's absolutely killing that. That's not no one should be talking about that as anything. He's absolutely killing it. But he's always going to want to play every game. If you're a true professional and you love football, you want to play every game. So I don't blame Marcus Rashford. If I was Marcus Rashford, I would do the same thing. I'm young, I'm hungry, I'm athletic, I'm explosive, I'm excited, I'm living a dream, I'm playing for my boyhood team, I'm a superstar. I want to play every single game. To the point where, even the England thing, where I went off my head at the beginning, and me and KG were talking about it as well, and he was like, nah, if Jesse Lingard rings him, that's why he wanted to go down there. I was fuming when he went down to the England training session. And I was like, what the hell is he doing? And then the kind of news came out that, actually, he just wanted to be around the camp. That just shows what type of guy Marcus Rashford is. I had to sit back and go, you know what, Flex, you got that one wrong. He wasn't going there to train, or he wasn't going there to try and play. He's injured. It's more of a camaraderie thing, because Rashi is that much of a character. I should actually be proud of that as a Man United fan. And actually I was. Some people may disagree and still say, nah, he should have kept his ass in Carrington, which is what I was saying at the time. But now I look at it, I think I got that one wrong. His energy is infectious, and he's obviously a great guy to be around. He's brilliant. But back to the injury situation of him having to be not injury free for 2 years. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace, because that's where the club comes into it. Why are the club not pulling him out? We saw what happened with the double stress fracture in his back. I remember when we brought him back too early. I think he came on against Wolves in the FA Cup. I'm sure it was that game. Someone in the comment section, let me know. I'm sure, because obviously I'm there every game. But I remember seeing him come on at Old Trafford. I'm like, why are we bringing him on? Or why are we starting him? One or the other. And I'm sure it was against Wolves, and he took the awkward fall and he hurt the back again. And then he was out for almost the rest of the season. And then that's it. And then it was the COVID situation and waiting for Project Restart that actually gave him a chance to get back fit again, and he came back really good. But that proved there, when we had that was like 3 months off of football, wasn't it? I think in the February we stopped, and then we came back in May, or was it 4 months? We could have come back in June, maybe June, I want to say. I can't remember. Maybe it was May. But anyway, we had that long layoff. But what it proved was that Marcus Rashford needed that amount of time to recoup. During the season, when's he getting 3 months off? When's he getting 2 months off? Never. Ayanda says, didn't Rashford take some time out around February 2020 and had some surgery then? That's what I mean. He was injured. He got injured because the double stress fracture got worse. I remember when he was playing on it before, and then there was rumours that he had this back injury, and then I think he had that fall against Wolves, I'm pretty sure, and then he was out. Then he was actually properly out for ages, where it's like, right, he actually can't play, not play through the pain barrier. And reading that, I don't know how true it is, but to read that his agency is basically saying he hasn't been fully 100% fit for 2 years, that's bad. That's a disgrace, actually. Why are we putting that pressure on the kid's body? Like, why? Obviously, Marcus Rashford's going to want to play every single game. But also what he highlights is, if we had another player or better squad depth for someone to come into that position and challenge Rashford for it, maybe we might have been able to do it. Pin comment here from Eab says, Flex, after the lockdown, will fan cams be back outside Old Trafford again? Will we see you at Old Trafford? Listen, guys. It's the Pope Catholic. Yeah? Of course you're going to see me there. We will be there as soon as we are allowed to by law, or not even just by law, but by the regulations and the rules around Old Trafford and stuff like that surrounding match days. We are going to be there. I'm going to be there. And we're going to be giving fans a chance to have their say. It might look differently in terms of, usually we have those big crowds behind us and stuff like that. It's probably going to look a bit different. It probably will do, especially early on. I don't know, but if we get to June the 21st, and there's no more restriction and social distancing just isn't a thing, and it's just as you were, then maybe, touch wood, it is that. But we'll definitely be back there. So don't go thinking. That's one thing I do want you guys to know, actually. United Stand is all about the community, and we've done amazing in this COVID ravaged year that we've had, and we've adapted to it here as a channel. And this is important. We've shown that actually where people think, oh, they probably just going to die out, or they're going to be this and that, we've proved that to just be fiction. But also what I want to prove to you guys as well is that we're not going to change what we do. We're not going to just become a channel that, because we did it in COVID and can just do everything in the screen and stuff like that, that we're only going to stay like that. We're absolutely going to be committed to giving fans their say, either at the games, in fan forums, on live streams like this, or watch-alongs with Mark. We're going to be doing exactly the same thing and bigger and better. So, yeah. Do not leave. Watch this space here at the United Stand. We're going to keep going up the levels, man. Zach Thomas says, long-time viewer here. Just found out my wife is pregnant. Wish us good luck. Big up, Zach. Congratulations to you and the missus as well. Hope everyone is safe and sound, and the missus and your baby to be is doing really well, and you're doing really well. Congratulations, bro. But yeah, to finish off on the Rashford situation. It stinks. It's not surprising, because when you look at how Rashford's actually been playing as well, he's been moving nuts. He has. He doesn't look right. Then it's the shoulder injury this year. We're talking about that, and then we're thinking, I'm not really sure about this. He doesn't look right to me, and that explains it all. Rashford, he's done well to even keep putting up the numbers he has done, which is testament to Marcus. Which is, like I said, I don't blame Marcus whatsoever. I really don't. Van der Sar, I saw this earlier. This made me laugh. This, I think, was the icing on the cake. When I said I kept looking at the Man United news today, and I was just like, what? We're just a shit show. So listen to this. Some figures at Man United feared, this is about Van der Sar, right? This is why we didn't get Van der Sar in as a technical director of football, whatever you want to call it. And this is probably why we have Darren Fletcher and John Murtough in these positions instead of someone like Eden van der Sar. Let me just read you this comment, right? That is a quote that's out there. That's just been reported by Manchester Evening News, right? Let me just read this to you lot. Some figures at Man United feared that if Van der Sar was appointed as football director, he would have been demanding. That's full stop. Some figures at Man United feared that if Van der Sar was appointed football director, he would be demanding. I'm sorry. What the hell is a director of football supposed to be then if they're not supposed to be demanding? Shouldn't we want him to be demanding? What are they saying? They're saying that Edward was not demanding. They're just admitting that. What do you mean they feared he'd be demanding? That just shows where we're at. Then it goes on to say, also, he currently occupies the chief executive role at Ajax, which would have been a threat to Ed Woodward. So basically, because Van der Sar would have come in and had his standards high and his bar high and not flipping on its ass on the floor, and would have wanted to come in and change shit, we went, nah. I don't want to swear. Forget that. Forget that. No. We can't piss off Ed Woodward. Is that what we really do? If that's true, again, some of the things you get as and this is what we do here on United Stand. I think people get a misconception that I'm saying this is true. I'm just saying I've just read this like the rest of you did, or you might not have seen it, but it's out there as news. And what we do here on United Stand is discuss what the news is, you know. Super chat here from Ronald Jacobs says, how Barcelona are struggling to pay Messi now can go for Haaland at such a high price, but we cannot buy Rice, Varane and Sancho at once. Yeah, I guarantee you they'll try and find the money. Exactly, they're really struggling financially, Barcelona, you know. I would think they're really going to struggle. But to finish off on Van der Sar, I'm going to do a quick Q&A with you guys and open up the floor. I think that's a disgrace. I actually think that's a disgrace, honestly. To think that we didn't get Van der Sar, if that's true, that just sums up everything wrong with our club. So I'm going to look at the comments now. It is Q&A section now. Let's get the questions in, questions that you might not normally ask. Obviously United related. Don't go, our Flex like, oh, what's your favourite food? Like, that's not the time for now. Flex, would you take John McGinn? Says Mr. Dark Matter 2.0. Would I take John McGinn? John McGinn's better than Scott McTominay, I'm going to say. Am I saying that? I think he is. He's very good. He's very good. But I wouldn't take John McGinn to elevate us to the next level, though. I feel like if you put John McGinn in there instead of Scott McTominay's probably got a better strike and probably get you a couple more goals and stuff. But John McGinn's very, very good on the ball. I think he's actually very underrated. But he's someone said that he's better than, well, Mr. Dark Matter said he's better than Fred. But John McGinn is a very good player. I think you look at the way John McGinn looks and how he moves, and you think that he's not very good. But if you know ball, you know that John McGinn is a good player. And I would say that, obviously he plays alongside him for Scotland anyway, but he's a very good player. Flex, thoughts on this? Manchester United will decide at the end of the season on the starting goalkeeper for next season, David De Gea or Dean Henderson. Fabrizio Romano said that. Is that what he just said, is he? Don't surprise me. Really and truly, we need to have that done now. Not get to the end of the season and look at someone in the Abdul put Flex, what's your favourite food? There's always one in it. On the Dean Henderson thing, we need to get it sorted from now. I think it is sorted from now. I think the writing's on the wall. I think they've made their mind up. I think David De Gea will not be the number one. I remember me and Xander, big up Xander as well. I miss Xander. I remember me and Xander on the stream saying, I tell you what, I bet that Dean Henderson will be number one by the end of the season. Now, I could be completely wrong. I'm not saying that I know best, I told you so, that's not my style. But my prediction is that, and I think we're starting to see that little shift. Do you know what I really do think as well, deep down? KG kind of touched on it as well on the fan forum, and it made me think that I definitely agreed with him. And the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what, that's true. I think that Ollie used the situation of David De Gea going away with the birth of his child to his advantage. Don't get me wrong, he had to play Dean Henderson in that time. But now he's back, he's kind of used it as a chance, as a thing of like, oh, Dino's just doing well, you'll get your time, David. He's doing the Ollie Lyon thing, you know what I mean? He's doing the thing you do on career mode. One of the players comes in the player chat and says, hey boss, I just wanted to ask you about my future, and you got the three answers, and you say, I'm counting on you. You still got a future here. You just lie. I think that's what Ollie's doing. Ayanda says, do you think Man United need to buy players who are at their prime versus young players, seeing as Ollie cannot really develop young players quick enough? That's what I was touching on with the centre-back situation, Ayanda. Thanks for the super chat there. I do. I think we're carrying... You look at the average age of our squad. I remember reading it was like 22 years of age. It's really young. Or something along them lines. It's early 20s. We brought that age right down. We had Lukaku who was late 20s, Jesse Lingard late 20s, Herrera who was going on 30, Alexis Sanchez. These are all players that have gone on to leave. Who else? Darmian, he was probably around that age. Daley Blind. So you look at the players that have gone out in recent years. Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger was old, Fellaini, Mata. Although he's still here but don't play. So we have brought that age down. But I think, I do agree. With the players that we need to start going for now, I'm saying yes, we need to start getting a bit more towards experience, been there and done it. Because there are, like I said, some players who are experienced, but they're very young. You know, you look at someone like Erling Haaland, he has been there and done it. Someone like Mbappe, they have been there and done it. I'm not saying we're going to get Mbappe. You look at Declan Rice, he's young, but he's playing at a tremendously high level. Indeed, what's he? 24 odd. Rafinha, same thing. So there are players who are young but have played at a high level. So we don't necessarily have to go for an old player, but I'm saying somewhere in the middle. I think players in their prime, 25 to 28, 29, I'm saying. Ronald Jacob says, Flex, who would you go for among this set of options? Varane or Kinari or Kun? I think you've put a couple of Lunde. I think you mean Kunde there. Yeah, the L's next to the K on the keyboard. Kunde. Sancho or Rafinha. Rice or Ndidi. Still sticking with Martial, question mark. So I would go for Varane out the centre backs. Tried and tested, won everything. Sancho or Rafinha. I'd go with Sancho. Rice or Ndidi. That's a good one, isn't it? I like Rice though, man. I like Rice, but I'd probably go with Ndidi. I'll probably go with Ndidi just. And am I sticking with Martial? I'm only sticking with Martial unless Martial could be used as a make weight to get someone like Erling Haaland. But it's not going to happen. And another reason why I do want to stick with Martial is not just because I think he'll come good. It isn't just because of that. I want to stick with Martial because also I want to get to a point where we are like City, where there's two men for every position. City can take out Mahrez and put in Bernardo Silva. They can take out De Bruyne and put Foden. They can take out Sterling and put Foden. They can take out Jesus and even without a striker put Kevin De Bruyne there, or put Bernardo Silva there as a false nine. They could take out Fernandinho and put Rodri. Look at their defensive options. They can take out Laporte and put in Diaz. Bring John Stones back into it. Like, they've got mad options. Nathan Ake's still there. He had a big injury, didn't even play this year. They spent, 40 to 50 million on him, didn't they? Something like that, 40 million. So, yeah, that's why I want to persist with Martial, because if we do get, like, say we got an Erling Haaland, but we kept a Martial, your depth is just looking so quality, and that is what I think we need to do. Charles Lovell says, Flex, thoughts if Liverpool get Mbappe and City get Haaland? Why would you do that, Charles? Why would you put that into the atmosphere, bro? Charlie, I hope you don't mind me calling you Charlie. If Liverpool got Mbappe and City got Haaland, I'd probably just ring Mark and say I don't want to do United Stand anymore. Probably, I'd just stop watching football. I would. Jory says in my ear he'll join me. Would there be any point watching football if Mbappe went to City, Liverpool, and Haaland went to City? And I know there's going to be, listen, you might get the old school Reds now. Oh, you're not a fan. You support the club through thick and thin. Don't you be saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just hypothetically saying that would be a lot, wouldn't it? To see Haaland go to Man City. And then, I don't even want to think about that. That is disgusting. Charlie, you've really... I was trying to bring myself back up and then you just put something into the atmosphere that is just mad. John Gregg says, Flex, do you think Barca are trying to get Haaland because Messi is leaving? Trying to get another superstar to somewhat hide the Messi saga? Very interesting. Maybe. I actually think Messi's going to stay. Honestly. I just think they've just got a hold over him. I think... Remember when Steven Gerrard went to leave Liverpool and they burnt his shirt, went round his yard... They're saying, Stevie, you're not going anywhere. To the point where Steven Gerrard just had to change his mind. Said, nah, I was just joking. Just wanted to see what you lot would say. You know what I mean? I remember when they done the same to Rio. I remember Rio talking about that. And it's not, I'm not condoning that, getting death threats and stuff like that because you say you want to leave a football club. That should never happen. But just with the Messi situation, I just feel like I don't agree with it because I think Messi's done so much in his career. He should be able to choose exactly where he wants to go. And if Messi wants to go to flip in Port Vale, because he just thinks I just want to play in a lower league in England, he should be allowed to do that. He's a footballing god. Haaland won't play for us. His dad played for City and Leeds are rivals. Maybe that is a reason. I don't know. Maybe that's why he's got a stronger affiliation with maybe going to City. Yeah, his dad did used to play for them. So we will see. We will see that. And Keane did absolutely ruin his dad's leg. Maybe that. But I don't know. I don't see that too much. Ollie loves the player, innit? At the end of the day, Man United love the player. Who won't want to see Erling Haaland in the team? So we will definitely be trying to get him. I don't think that'll be a reason why Erling Haaland says no. I think the real reason Erling Haaland says no is because we can't give him the assurances that he wants in terms of the team being built, the project that we're going to sell to him, And we obviously can't afford it. We're not going to be able to afford to give him... What would Erling Haaland's wages probably be if he come to Man United? They've got to be 300, innit? They've got to be 300 plus. Easy. I mean, we're talking about Mino Raiola here. And Mino Raiola, one thing he can do is negotiate a flipping contract, that man. And if David De Gea, I know it's not his client, but if David De Gea is the highest paid player at Man United at 370 grand a week, or whatever it is, 350 grand a week, sorry. And that's what we're playing for the top players. Bruno's on 200 odd plus. Pogba's on 200 odd plus. If he signs a new deal, he's going to be on more than that. Haaland's coming in, actually not 300. He's coming in at least 220, 250. And obviously with a price tag of 127 million pounds. Ronald Jacobs says, saw a quote. It said, Company, Silva and Aguero, if they played for us at current age, all of them would have 5-year deals. That's where our club is wrong. 100%. Mate. People, do you know what? It's good that people are bringing these up because it shows that us as a fan base understand where we're at. But it's also sad that people are bringing up stuff like this because it shows how shit we are run. How City are moving with when they're letting these players go is perfect. It really annoys me that they're so well run. They're getting stacked up, great scouting. They find players for decent prices, never pay over the odds, and are ruthless with their transfers. And then when they have their legends, you're talking legends, Vincent Kompany had injury problems towards the end of his tenure. They phased him out at the right time. Didn't replace him for a season and a bit when they needed to go and get a Diaz and a Laporte. That didn't really work until they replaced him, but they did it. Fernandinho is playing less games now. They brought in a Rodri to compensate that because Fernandinho is fantastic, but they managed that well. David Silva, exactly the same thing. Last year he went to Real Sociedad after 10 years at the club, managed it well. And now the same with Aguero. He's not played consistently for about a year. He's coming in and out. And now they let him go at the right time instead of trying to make him stay. You're right. If it was us, we'd probably be offering them new big contracts. That's what we do. That's why it's taken long for the likes of the Smallings and the Jones and the Rojos and the whoever it is, the Mata, the Matiches. These players get extension after extension after extension. I don't see Pep saying, let's try and keep David Silva for an extra 2 years because, it'd be good to have around a training ground. You do need a little bit of, experience in your team. I understand that. But also, no disrespect, but you look at the levels of them players as well. David Silva, even last year when he was playing, was still good. Would still walk into our midfield. Do you know what I'm saying? But they brought in Bernardo Silva. They edged in Phil Foden. Ready-made replacements. That's how you run your club. And Tanvir says, what's the point of having Oli and giving a contract if he can't attract big signings? Better to bring someone tactical like Julian Nagelsmann and then spend. Well, that's just it. I think the jury's always out on Oli, but one thing the jury is not out on him is within the club. Them bringing in Darren Fletcher, John Murtough, who was already there, I know that, but Kieran McKenna, Michael Carrick, all these type of guys, McPhelan. That is because they believe in Oli and believe in that crop of what's going on. Make no mistake about it. They believe in that crop of players. And the reason why they believe in it, that crop of players, that crop of management. Now, I'm not saying that we all do, but they believe in it. And that is why they put that group together. Because they believe in giving him the money and they believe that Oli can return us back to the top. So, but if we were thinking of getting rid of Oli, then you're right. You wouldn't give him the money. You would bring in someone like a Nagelsmann and then do that. Haaland won't play for it. I've read that one already on the pinned thing. Also, Flex, would you swap Rashford for Sancho? That's a good question, isn't it? Frankie Fraser says, would I swap Rashford for Sancho? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I'll get onto that. I wouldn't swap Rashford for Sancho. I think Rashford is going to be... Is he going to be world class? I think he can be world class. He has the attributes to be world class. And with what he's already done for us, I'm not having it. People are saying, I can't believe you're even considering. Listen, it's not as far as you might think, but look, some people are saying hell yeah. First name, last name says hell yeah, 100%. I wouldn't do it. I think he's Man United through and through. I think he's a special player. And I call me biased, whatever you want to say, but I love the fact that he's ours. I love the fact that he's come through, and I would love Rashford to be a one-club man, personally. I would love to see him be I was going to say Rooney, obviously not a one club man, but break the record. Can Rashford score over 250 odd goals? He's got the tools to do it. Whether or not he does it, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't do that. There was the thing earlier, and I didn't really get to talk about it with KG because we did it near the end of the show because it was so silly that it was just never going to happen. But I wanted to just bring it up now. We're just doing a bit of a Q&A and have a bit of fun, which was, I actually said to myself, would I actually take Aguero? Would I take Sergio Aguero? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Do you know? And you know why? Yeah, let me. Hang on a minute. Let me just. I think it's my camera's just gone into not turning on. Yeah, sleep mode. Should just come back on. You lot should be able to see me now. Yeah, I can see myself here on in here. That's fine. I need to turn that off. Actually, sleep mode on the camera. The camera just went off. Got it plugged in as well. Screen's gone, lads. Everyone's saying I should be back now. Calm down. Calm down. Black screens matter. I can see in the comments. Sleep mode. Yeah, it is sleep mode. What was I saying? Aguero. As Messi says there, Aguero is a City legend. One, Aguero's never going to come to Man United, like ever. Yeah, because he's just about to get a statue at Man United. He's not Carlos Tevez, who's been at us for 2 years. He's not Carlos Tevez, who's like, I've only been at United a couple of years. They didn't want to keep me. I was here on loan and they never activated it. Fuck it, I'm just going to piss them off. I don't care. Sergio Aguero is a certified Manchester City legend. Why is he going to get a statue after 10 years of service, after having their most iconic moment in the whole of the history of the football club? And I will be disrespectful to them, so I don't give a shit about their other history. If there's a Man City fan in the comments going, oh, we won the UEFA Cup in 1904, that was our best. I don't care. When Aguero done that thing, that Aguero last minute, when he took the title from my flipping hands, my eyes, yeah, that was you lot's best ever moment, yeah? I don't care, yeah? But Aguero's not going to come to Man United. No, and I wouldn't take him as well. I don't want him. And on top of that, and that's not out of a lack of respect to Sergio Aguero, because you know what? Out of all the City players that you want to hate, you hate him because he always scores against us and he is a fantastic player. But I do respect him. I do. I am one of them fans that can show a bit of respect. Obviously not on match day, but I can. What a striker he has been. But I wouldn't take him. And also the injuries. Even if it was set aside all that and something mad happened, he's obviously another Cavani right now. Do you know what I'm saying? He is. Flex, Stream King, go on. Big up Nowfish, I like that. First name, last name says, would you sign Calvert-Lewin? I do like Calvert-Lewin. And you know what? Some people may laugh, but he is actually a good number 9. He is actually a really good player. But at Man United, week in, week out, it's just a different level, isn't it? It's a different level. We know the ability that Tony Martial has. We know the ability that he has, but do we see it? Do we see it week in, week out? We don't. That just shows how good you actually have to be at this level. But he is a proper centre half. I really do like him. Ben Thornton says we need Rice and Pogba. If he signs, at the pivot, Bruno further up, Rashford, Pedro Neto. I do like Pedro Neto. And a world-class striker, if we can. You see, that's the last thing actually that I'll touch on just before we finish off quickly. The Pedro Neto thing. If we get a defensive midfielder, they do need to play along Paul Pogba. That's assuming Paul Pogba stays. If Paul Pogba leaves, right, but then say we do something dumb, like go and use that money to get a defensive midfielder, you do realise that we'll get someone like Declan Rice or Ndidi. I'm not saying it will be them, but someone of those attributes. And we'll be playing them next to McTominay or Fred. Would be in the same. Then where would the creativity come from? Would be in exactly the same position. So if he leaves, if Pogba leaves, we then have to go and replace Paul Pogba. You need another attacking midfielder because I can't see. Listen, Donny could potentially do the job, but I can't see Ollie putting Donny in that pivot with someone else. I can't see it. Another manager would be able to get some change out of that, but Ollie's not going to do that, in my opinion. So for me, I think we need to make sure Paul Pogba stays, because if he doesn't, they better only let that man walk out this club or leave this club. One, for a good transfer fee. given the COVID, which I tried to explain to KG a million times, it's not going to be £90 million with him going into the last year of his contract. It's going to be something like, I'd say Paul Pogba goes between, I'm going to be really specific here, 58 million to 74 million. I'm going to say somewhere between that. But if he does leave, we need to have a ready-made replacement of that type of attacking midfielder, and then go and get a defensive midfielder. And Ayanda says, if you were to sell one between Ollie and Fred and Donny, who would it be? Oh my God! If I was gonna sell Ollie, Fred, or Donny, oh mate, I would sell. Is it Ollie? Would I use that as a chance to sell Ollie? New manager's going to have Fred and Donny. No, I'd sell Fred. I'd go Fred, Ollie, Donny in a hypothetical situation. I just think Fred, we could probably bring in a better player in that position. But there you go. Anyway, guys, I don't know if my camera's gone off again, but yeah. I'm out of it, guys. Smash a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and international football is done and dusted. Rolling into the weekend. It's Good Friday tomorrow. I'm going to be frying some fish at home as well. I love that. And yeah, big up everyone celebrating Easter, and have a good Friday tomorrow. And I'll see you on the weekend. I'm out of here. Peace.